The story begins not with a serve or a forehand, but with an unease that crept into the very soul of one of tennis's brightest stars. Emma Raducanu, just 22, a Grand Slam champion and the pride of British tennis, found herself confronting something far darker than any opponent across the net. It was February, the heat of the Dubai Tennis Championships clashing with a chill that only fear can bring. As the match began, there were no warning bells for the audience, no sirens to alert them. But inside Raducanu's chest, the alarm was blaring. In the stands, among the sea of neutral faces, was one she recognized instantly, not as a friend or a fan, but as a shadow that had been following her. Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Doha, and now, Dubai. 4 tournaments, 4 stalking encounters, and now, a 5th. This wasn't a chance encounter. It wasn't a harmless admirer who'd appeared on a whim. This man had been trailing her like a ghost, never shouting, never threatening, but always there. Always watching. His presence alone, silent and unsettling, was enough to unravel even the steeliest nerves. He had approached her outside the Player Hotel in Dubai, the night before the match. A letter clutched in hand. A camera phone ready. "Can I take a photo?" He'd asked, like it was a normal request. Like he didn't know that his presence had already lingered like a storm cloud for weeks. Raducanu, gracious and professional even in discomfort, complied. But internally, her sense of safety cracked. The photo wasn't a keepsake, it was a trigger. She told someone, a member of her team. She didn't stay silent. But somehow, that red flag never made it to the officials. Not to the WTA. Not to tournament security. Not until it was too late. On match day, Emma stepped onto the court to face Karolina Muchova. But 2 games in, she could take no more. Her eyes locked onto the stands. There he was. Again. Still. Watching. She ran behind the umpire's chair, not for tactics or water, but for refuge. She couldn't focus on the ball. Her vision blurred with tears. Her breath caught in her throat. The stadium lights were nothing compared to the spotlight of fear that now pinned her down. "I saw him in the first game of the match," she would later tell reporters. "And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to finish." She didn't. At least not the way she wanted. Every forehand was now a heartbeat. Every backhand, a gasp. She wasn't playing tennis anymore, she was surviving. "I literally couldn't see the ball through tears," she confessed. "I could barely breathe." It was no longer about points or rankings. It was about control, something that had slipped away without warning. Something taken from her not by injury or fatigue, but by a man who had no right to be there. The security team acted quickly, after the damage was already done. He was removed from the stands and detained by police. But even then, the questions remained. How did he get in? Why wasn't the alert raised earlier? Who dropped the ball? Dubai police issued a restraining order. His name was circulated among tennis authorities. A red flag, finally raised, but too late to spare Emma the trauma. The tennis world has rules for foot faults, double bounces, and coaching violations. But what about the unspoken rules that should protect its players off the court? The system had failed, and Raducanu was left to pick up the emotional pieces. There is a haunting silence that follows these stories. It's the silence of locker rooms where safety is assumed, the silence of officials who don't speak up until it's necessary, and the silence of players who carry these fears without ever letting them show. Emma Raducanu, for all her grace and composure, should not have had to perform under such circumstances. No player should. She's not just an athlete, she's a human being deserving of safety and dignity. Her experience in Dubai is not isolated. Women in sport, across disciplines, face scrutiny, obsession, and sometimes stalking that isn't taken seriously until it reaches a boiling point. Emma's case has now become a symbol, a wake-up call. Security measures have since been revised. Ticket systems now scan names against flagged databases. The man, whose name has not been released, was denied entry to Wimbledon in June after being flagged in the public ballot. The system worked, but only after Emma was made a victim. Raducanu continues to play, to fight, to inspire. But what happened in February will linger. Not because she wants it to, but because fear doesn't vanish with a court order. She has not spoken publicly about the long-term impact. But her eyes told the story in Dubai. The hesitation, the trauma, the courage to finish what she started, even if her heart was shattering point by point. Her case is now studied by security experts, used as a reference for player protection. Her pain has become protocol. But we must not reduce her story to a line in a policy manual. This was real. It was raw. And it mattered. Because behind the endorsements and trophies is a 22-year-old woman who was forced to hide behind an umpire's chair to feel safe. A world-class athlete brought to tears not by defeat, but by the terrifying weight of being followed. Let this moment not be forgotten. Let it not fade like yesterday's match scores. Let it spark a real change. A change in how we listen, how we respond, how we protect. Because no champion should have to choose between their dream and their safety. Not Emma. Not anyone. And if tennis is truly the global, progressive sport it claims to be, then it must rise now, in solidarity, and ensure that no woman ever stands alone on court with fear in her eyes. Emma Raducanu showed us her vulnerability. Now, the world must show her its strength.